Have you ever found yourself stuck in a relationship that hurts you deeply? You know it drains your energy, chips away at your happiness, and yet somehow you stay. You've tried to leave before, promised yourself that this time it would be different. But something powerful and unseen pulls you back in every time. Why is it that even when suffering feels unbearable, you still feel trapped? What is it that holds you there when logically you know it's time to walk away? Today, we're diving deep into the unseen forces that bind us in toxic relationships, forces that go far beyond the actions of the other person. It's not just about manipulation or love that won't let go. It's about what this relationship has awakened inside of you. It's about the wounds it touches, the fears it triggers, and the confusing hope it feeds. Toxic relationships aren't just about fights or lies or betrayal. They are about invisible psychological patterns, patterns created early in life, patterns that condition how you perceive love and connection. These patterns create a bond so strong that it changes how you see yourself and the world around you. Let's be clear. You are not weak. You are not lacking willpower. You are caught in a cycle that has rewired your mind, and only by understanding this can you begin to regain control. The trap of familiar pain. Think back to your earliest experiences with love and care. From the moment you were born, your brain began learning how to connect with others, how to seek safety and comfort. If you grew up in an environment where affection was consistent and nurturing, you likely learned that relationships are safe, reliable places. But what if love was mixed with pain? What if affection came sometimes and rejection or coldness other times? What if love felt unpredictable and something you had to earn or fight for? If this was your experience, your mind has learned a very different lesson. That love is unstable, uncertain, even scary. This is the foundation of toxic relationships. When your brain grew used to love being unpredictable, a mixture of warmth and withdrawal, you become wired to recognize and even crave that pattern. So when you meet someone who treats you well all the time, it might feel unfamiliar or even boring. But when someone gives you love in unpredictable, controlled doses, one day warm and caring, the next distant or cold, your brain lights up with recognition. It associates this roller coaster with love itself. You're not just attached to the person. You're attached to what they represent. The hope of finally making love work, of healing old wounds, of proving you're enough. And this is what makes leaving so hard. The fear of loss. A story left unfinished. One of the biggest reasons people stay in toxic relationships is fear, specifically the fear of loss. Not just losing the person in front of you, but the fear of losing the story you're still trying to write. You feel a desperate need to prove that this time will be different, that if you just try hard enough, love will win. This is the emotional cliff many of us stand on, the edge between painful reality and hopeful illusion. But here's the truth. You don't need to prove anything. You don't have to fix what's broken or convince someone to change. The problem is not with you, and the solution is not with them. The first step toward freedom is to recognize this pattern. It's only when you see what's really going on inside your heart and mind that you can begin to break free. Why understanding is power. This video is not here to blame you or make you feel weak. It's here to shine a light on what's happening beneath the surface, because when you understand, you regain control. And control is the key to leaving. Without control, you keep returning, drawn by hope, guilt, confusion. But with clarity, you can finally start walking toward freedom. So if there's any part of you that feels trapped, this message is for you. You're not alone, and healing begins with understanding. In the next part, we'll explore how your brain gets hooked on this painful cycle through a process called intermittent reinforcement, a powerful psychological mechanism that keeps you addicted to hope even in the face of hurt. Stay with me. Welcome back. In the last part, we uncovered why toxic relationships are so much more than just pain and conflict, why they activate deep, unconscious patterns inside us. Now, we're going to explore the psychological mechanism that makes leaving feel almost impossible: intermittent reinforcement. Have you noticed that in even the most painful relationships, there are moments, fleeting but intense, when everything seems perfect, when the person you love is exactly who you want them to be? In those moments, you feel a surge of hope, relief, and happiness, like you've caught a glimpse of what the relationship could be. You clutch onto these moments tightly, replaying them over and over in your mind. You tell yourself, if I just try harder, if I'm more patient, if I change this or that, maybe it will be different this time. But this is not love. This is addiction. What is intermittent reinforcement? Intermittent reinforcement is a term from behavioral psychology. It was discovered through experiments by B.F. Skinner, who studied how rewards affect behavior. Imagine a rat pressing a lever to get food. When the rat gets food every time it presses the lever, it eventually gets bored. But when the food comes unpredictably, sometimes after one press, sometimes after 5, sometimes after 10, the rat becomes obsessed, pressing the lever over and over, desperate for that unpredictable reward. Now replace the rat with you and the lever with your relationship. When the person you're involved with gives affection, attention, or kindness unpredictably, never consistently but just enough to keep you hooked, your brain becomes addicted to that uncertainty. You keep hoping, trying, and waiting for the next reward of love or approval. How this conditioned cycle destroys you. The problem with intermittent reinforcement in relationships is that it lowers your standards over time. When the good moments are rare and unpredictable, you start accepting less and less. You might have entered the relationship demanding respect, honesty, and commitment. But after many cycles of ups and downs, your expectations fade. You convince yourself that crumbs of affection are enough, because deep down you're addicted to those rare moments of love. And this is how the toxic person maintains control. They don't need to be kind all the time, just enough to keep you hooked, confused, and hoping. Leaving becomes painful not only because of the loss, but because you are breaking an addiction. Your brain craves those moments of affection just like a drug addict craves their next fix. The emotional roller coaster. Intermittent reinforcement creates a roller coaster of emotions: hope, disappointment, joy, despair. It keeps your brain on high alert, constantly chasing the next reward. This roller coaster can feel like love, but it's actually a trap. It conditions you to tolerate pain and uncertainty as normal, to accept chaos in the name of love. And the worst part? This cycle rewires your brain to expect instability, making healthy, stable relationships feel unfamiliar or even boring. Why leaving feels like withdrawal. When you finally decide to leave, you don't just walk away from a person. You walk away from a deeply ingrained pattern your brain is addicted to. That's why you feel withdrawal symptoms: emptiness, anxiety, sadness, even physical pain. Your brain is craving that intermittent reward it's used to. But here's the good news. Withdrawal is temporary. Just like any addiction, if you resist the urge to go back, your brain will eventually heal. You will begin to feel clarity and peace that you never thought possible. Moving forward, understanding intermittent reinforcement is a powerful step toward breaking free. It helps you realize that the toxic relationship isn't love, but a conditioned addiction to unpredictable affection. In the next part, we will explore one of the most insidious tools used in toxic relationships: gaslighting, and how emotional manipulation destroys your trust in yourself. Stay strong. You're learning to break free. So far, we've uncovered why toxic relationships feel impossible to leave and how intermittent reinforcement traps you in a cycle of hope and pain. Now, it's time to shine a light on one of the darkest corners of toxic dynamics: the mental and emotional manipulation techniques designed to break down your perception of reality. Among these, gaslighting is perhaps the most damaging and confusing weapon. What is gaslighting? Gaslighting is a form of psychological abuse where the manipulator distorts reality to make you doubt your own feelings, memories, and even your sanity. It's a slow and deliberate process that chips away at your confidence, leaving you disoriented and dependent. Imagine noticing something off in your relationship. Maybe a lie, a strange behavior, or a betrayal. You confront the other person, hoping for honesty or clarity. Instead, they flip the situation, accusing you of misunderstanding, paranoia, or being overly sensitive. You're imagining things. That never happened. You're just too emotional. These phrases might seem small at first, but repeated over time, they create a fog in your mind. You start questioning your own judgment, replaying conversations obsessively, searching for proof that you're right, only to be met with more denial and confusion. This constant questioning erodes your trust in yourself and increases your reliance on the manipulator to define what's real. The devastating impact of gaslighting. The true power of gaslighting lies in its ability to isolate you. When you doubt your reality, you feel alone. You hesitate to reach out for help because deep down, you wonder if you are the problem. This emotional isolation is what keeps you trapped. The manipulator's goal is not only to avoid accountability, but to keep you off balance, emotionally exhausted, confused, and vulnerable. Projection. The mirror of blame. Alongside gaslighting, another common tactic in toxic relationships is projection. This is when the toxic person accuses you of the very behaviors they are guilty of. If they lie, they call you dishonest. If they cheat, they accuse you of infidelity. If they are angry or aggressive, they claim you are provoking them. This tactic serves to deflect blame and further erode your self-confidence. When you begin to accept these false accusations, carrying guilt for things you did not do, your emotional burden grows heavier and heavier. The emotional exhaustion trap. Together, gaslighting and projection create an exhausting cycle. You spend your energy defending yourself, questioning your sanity, and trying to prove your worth. When your self-esteem is shattered this way, you begin to accept any small sign of kindness or affection as a reward, even if it comes with pain or betrayal. Your reality becomes distorted, your identity blurred. You stop trusting your own voice and begin to blindly trust the manipulator's version of reality. Recognizing the manipulation breaking free begins with recognizing these tactics for what they are. If you find yourself constantly doubting your feelings, second-guessing your memories, or feeling responsible for problems that aren't yours, these are warning signs. Understand that these patterns are not your fault. You are not too sensitive or crazy. You are a human being caught in a dangerous game of manipulation. The power of reclaiming your reality. Taking back your perception of reality is the first step in reclaiming your power. Start by trusting your feelings. Write down incidents as they happen. Talk to trusted friends or professionals who can offer an outside perspective. Remind yourself that your experience is valid and that you deserve to feel safe and respected. In the next part, we will explore why the fear of loneliness and the illusion of change keep you bound, even when your heart screams to leave. Stay with me. Understanding these forces brings you closer to freedom. Up to now, we've explored the deep psychological traps, the unconscious bonds, intermittent reinforcement, and emotional manipulation that keep us tethered to toxic relationships. Now, we arrive at one of the most powerful yet often hidden reasons people stay: the fear of loneliness, paired with the illusion that love can change someone. The deep-rooted fear of being alone. From early childhood, we're taught that being alone is something to avoid at all costs. Society constantly tells us that love, partnership, and connection are the keys to happiness. Movies, music, social media, all echo the message that being single means failure, loneliness, or incompleteness. So when faced with the possibility of leaving a toxic relationship, the fear of loneliness rises like a wall in front of us. The thought of being alone can feel unbearable, as if our very survival depends on not facing that emptiness. This fear is not irrational. It's wired into our survival instinct. Humans are social creatures, and connection is essential to our well-being. But this fear, when magnified, becomes a cage. The illusion of change, holding on to hope. Alongside fear lies hope. A hope that the person you love will change, that the pain is temporary, and that if you just try a little harder, things will be different. You remember the person they were at the beginning, kind, loving, promising a future. You hold on to their promises to change, their apologies, their fleeting warmth. You tell yourself, this time, it will be different. But here's the painful truth. True change only happens when the person recognizes their problems and sincerely wants to grow. Change can't be forced, begged for, or sacrificed for. Too often that hope is an illusion. It keeps you stuck in the cycle, chasing after something that may never come. Emotional withdrawal. The hidden addiction. What you might actually be experiencing is emotional withdrawal, similar to drug withdrawal. Your brain has been conditioned to crave the unpredictable affection, the highs and lows, the moments of connection mixed with pain. When you leave, you don't just lose a person. You lose the drug your brain was addicted to. This loss causes intense emotional pain, making you want to return just to relieve it. Understanding this is crucial because it helps you see that your struggle is not a sign of weakness. It's a natural response to addiction. Breaking the cycle. Choosing yourself. The moment you decide to leave is the moment you choose yourself over fear and illusion. It's a decision to stop sacrificing your well-being for a love that doesn't serve you. It's not easy. The first days, weeks, even months will test you like never before. You will miss the person, question your decision, and feel an overwhelming urge to go back. But with every day you stay away, the fog begins to lift. The pain becomes more manageable, and your mind clearer. Your worth beyond the relationship. Remember, your worth is not defined by someone else's love or approval. You are whole, valuable, and deserving of genuine respect and care, with or without a partner. Rebuilding this self-worth is a journey, and it starts with small acts of self-love and self-respect. In the next part, we will focus on practical steps to break free completely, how to detox your mind and rebuild your identity after a toxic relationship. You're doing the hardest work. Keep going. Now that you understand why toxic relationships hold you captive, from deep emotional bonds to fear and manipulation, it's time to talk about the path forward. How do you finally break free? How do you detox your mind and rebuild your life? Leaving is not just a decision. It's a process that requires courage, patience, and commitment to yourself. Step 1. The total break. No contact. The very first and most crucial step is to cut all contact. No messages, no calls, no just checking in, no social media stalking, and no let's just be friends compromises. Why? because any contact reactivates the emotional conditioning, pulling you right back into the spiral of confusion and hope. You might think, what if they change? What if they realize what they lost? But here's the truth. If they could change, they would have already done so. Holding on for closure or answers only delays your healing. The closure you seek is not in them. It's in your decision to walk away. Step 2. Endure the withdrawal without relapse. Just like quitting an addiction, the early days will be the hardest. You'll feel a void, emptiness, and a deep longing for the person. But this is not love. It's emotional withdrawal. Your brain will try to trick you, reminding you only of the good times, downplaying the pain, whispering, maybe you overreacted. The best way to fight this is to replace old habits with new ones. Fill your time with activities that uplift you. Exercise, hobbies, spending time with supportive friends. Don't romanticize the past. Keep a journal or a list of the hurtful moments and read it whenever you feel tempted to go back. Step 3. Rebuild your identity. Toxic relationships often erode your self-esteem and make you see yourself through the eyes of the abuser. Now it's time to rediscover who you are, before the relationship, before the pain. Ask yourself, what did I love doing? What made me happy? What parts of myself did I hide or abandon? Reconnecting with your passions, values, and desires is essential to healing. You don't need a relationship to feel whole. That idea was planted by a society that profits from your insecurity. True healing starts with self-love. Step 4. Set boundaries and protect your energy. As you heal, you will learn the importance of boundaries. Saying no to what doesn't serve you, protecting your emotional space, and refusing to accept less than you deserve. This step is about empowerment, reclaiming your right to be treated with respect and kindness. Step 5. Seek support. Healing can be lonely, but you don't have to do it alone. Therapy, support groups, trusted friends, these can provide perspective, validation, and guidance. Sometimes professional help is essential to unpack trauma and rebuild your emotional foundation. The journey is hard, but worth it. There will be moments of doubt, fear, and pain. But with every step, you move closer to freedom. You will begin to see the truth clearly, that what you had was never love but a harmful pattern. And one day, without warning, you will wake up and realize you are free. In our final part, we'll talk about the power of choosing yourself and the new life waiting on the other side of this painful journey. Welcome to the final part of this journey. You've learned why toxic relationships hold such a powerful grip, how the brain gets trapped in cycles of hope and pain, the destructive impact of manipulation, and the courageous steps needed to break free. Now, it's time to talk about the most important choice you will ever make: choosing yourself. The moment of choice, there comes a moment when the voice inside you, the true voice, not the one clouded by fear or manipulation, asks a simple but profound question. Will you continue destroying yourself for a love that was never real, or will you finally choose yourself? Choosing yourself means putting your well-being, your peace, and your happiness first, regardless of how others feel or what they promise. It means ending the endless cycle of doubt, confusion, and pain, silencing the inner critic, that inner voice of doubt. What if I'm making a mistake? What if I never find love again? Is not truly yours. It's the echo of years of conditioning, manipulation, and emotional abuse. You deserve to silence this voice. Remind yourself daily, you are enough. You are worthy of love and respect. Your future is not defined by your past. Reclaiming your power. True liberation comes from reclaiming your power, owning your story, your emotions, and your identity. It means setting boundaries, saying no to toxic patterns, and yes to healthy relationships, with others and yourself. It's a commitment to healing, growth, and self-compassion. The new beginning. Leaving a toxic relationship is not an end. It's a powerful new beginning. You will rediscover your passions, rebuild your confidence, and create a life based on self-love and authenticity. You will learn to trust yourself again, to listen to your intuition, and to choose what serves your highest good. You are not alone. Remember, healing is a journey, not a destination. Reach out when you need help. Surround yourself with those who support your growth. Share your story. Your courage can inspire others who are still trapped. Your healing starts now. The hardest part is making the choice. Once you do, every step forward brings you closer to freedom, peace, and true love. The love you have for yourself. You are stronger than you know, braver than you believe, and more deserving than you realize. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If this video touched you, helped you see your situation more clearly, please share your thoughts below. Your experience might be the light someone else needs. Keep moving forward. Your freedom is waiting.